What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And if this is your first time here, you are arriving at exactly the right moment because we are sitting right on the edge of one of the most talked about NFL drafts in recent Dallas Cowboys history, and things just got a whole lot more interesting. Before we dive all the way in, I need you to do something real quick. Hit that subscribe button right now, smash that like button, and share this video with every Cowboys fan you know, because we are building something special here, and the YouTube algorithm rewards those who show love. Now let us get into it because there is a lot to unpack today, and we are not wasting any time. We have been doing this Hidden Gems draft series, and it has been one of the most rewarding conversations we have had on this channel. Bringing in real draft minds, people who actually do the work, people who break down film rep by rep instead of just repeating what everybody else is saying, that is the kind of content this channel was built on. And today, we are wrapping up the series with our final predictions before the draft actually gets here. But before we get to the predictions, we need to talk about the elephant in the entire room, and that elephant is named Dexter Lawrence. The New York Giants just shipped Dexter Lawrence straight to the Cincinnati Bengals for the number 10 overall pick. A straight-up trade, no fluff, no picks attached, just Dexter Lawrence for pick 10. Now, everybody has been waiting to hear thoughts on this and what it actually means for the Cowboys moving forward. So let us break this thing down properly because there are layers here that most people are sleeping on. First of all, let us just say it plainly. Sexy Dexy is out of the NFC East and honestly good riddance. That man would just sit in the A-gap and refuse to move. He was a nightmare to deal with twice a year. So yes, we are taking that. We will take it all day long. But here's where the real conversation starts. How does this actually change the board for Dallas? A lot of people were watching Cincinnati as a team likely to grab a defensive back right ahead of the Cowboys. They were sitting there at number 11, and most projections had them taking exactly the kind of player Dallas was eyeing. Well, now Cincinnati is not there anymore. They are back at 10 with a brand new pick, courtesy of giving up their defensive anchor. But here's the thing. That does not mean Dallas is completely in the clear. Do not start celebrating just yet. There are still landmines all over this board. Now let us talk about the Giants for a second because this is the part that most people are not thinking about deeply enough. The Giants now have the 10th overall pick from that trade, but ask yourself honestly, are the Giants actually going to take a defender there? Think about what that organization looks like right now. Jackson Dart has that fan base more excited than they have been in a very long time, maybe since the early Eli Manning days. Their offensive line has real problems. Their offense is not where it needs to be. John Harbaugh is running that show now, and Harbaugh wants to run the football. He wants to protect his quarterback. He wants his offensive line to be built correctly before he starts making luxury picks. Taking a safety in the top 5 is a luxury pick. The Giants are not in luxury pick territory right now. They have real needs on that offense, and they need to surround Jackson Dart with the right pieces before that kid gets broken in half behind a shaky line. So when you really look at it, the Giants could very realistically be looking at an offensive tackle or even a wide receiver at that 10th pick. Jordan Tyson has been getting buzz. Mal Naga has been mentioned. Tate Ratledge has been in the conversation. Do not sleep on the Giants going in a completely different direction than what the draft community groupthink has been saying. And that is actually the bigger topic here that needs to be addressed directly. Draft groupthink is one of the most dangerous things in this entire process. What happens is one person with a platform says they do not like a player, and suddenly everybody just piles on without doing any actual work. Nobody talks about the real film. Nobody talks about the technical details. They just repeat what they heard somewhere else, and suddenly a prospect's entire evaluation gets poisoned by noise instead of substance. The best draft evaluators are the ones who go back to the tape, break it down rep by rep, and then stand on what they find regardless of what the popular opinion is. Disagreement is not disrespect. Having a different opinion from somebody does not mean there is a problem between you. It means you are doing your own work and thinking independently, and that is exactly what good analysis looks like. Take Keldrick Falk as an example. The conversation around him in Cowboys circles has been almost entirely focused on sack numbers, but sack totals do not tell the full story of a pass rusher, especially one who is being used the way Auburn used Falk. Auburn asked him to line up at defensive tackle and defensive end because he was simply their best player, and they needed him everywhere. He was playing a two-gap technique on running downs and then being asked to get after quarterbacks on passing downs. That kind of usage absolutely eats into your sack numbers. But when you actually watch the film, this is a guy with elite ankle flexion, tremendous hand usage, play strength that is already ready at 21 years old, and the kind of raw tools that a coaching staff can mold into something special. He is going to come into the league closer to 275 or 280 pounds. He moves better than players that size have any right to move. And he is going to be in a system with coaching that can actually develop his pass rush arsenal. The sack obsession in this fan base has genuinely clouded the evaluation on this player. But here's the honest truth about why some people are hesitant on Falk at the 20th pick. It is not because he is a bad player. It is because if you have not already addressed linebacker through free agency or a trade, taking an edge rusher at 20 feels like you are leaving a massive need unaddressed. If Dallas had already gone out and grabbed a Nick Herbig or an Ali Highsmith, or if they had locked up a veteran linebacker solution in free agency, then taking Falk at 20 and letting the board dictate that pick becomes a lot easier to swallow. The discomfort comes from the idea of walking away from the draft without a real answer at the linebacker position, and that is a legitimate concern. Which brings us to the 30 visits. The Cowboys interviewed 14 defensive backs with their top 30 visits. 14. Safeties, corners, nickels, all of it. They only sat down with 4 linebackers. 4. Now you could read that 2 different ways. Either they are not prioritizing linebacker at all, or they already know exactly which linebacker they want, and they do not need to do additional homework because that decision is already made. The latter feels a lot more likely. Everything points toward Dallas having a very clear picture of who they want at linebacker, and the names that keep coming up are C.J. Allen and Jacob Rodriguez. Jacob Rodriguez is a fascinating case because the entire Dallas Cowboys contingency was at Texas Tech. They were not at Ohio State. They sat down with Rodriguez, they went to dinner with him, he is already calling the coaching staff by their nicknames, and when you have a linebacker of his caliber who is also one of the highest character players in this entire draft class, a Jason Witten Collegiate Man of the Year Award recipient, a kid who is a true blue-collar worker with family values, and a story that Cowboys fans will absolutely fall in love with. It is very hard to imagine Jerry Jones looking at that player and not seeing a perfect marketing and football fit. And when Luke Kuechly says that is his favorite linebacker in the draft, you have to take that seriously. Kuechly knows what good linebackers look like. C.J. Allen is also firmly in the picture and has real support as well. The connection through the coaching staff makes him a name to watch very closely. Either way, everything points toward Dallas knowing they are coming out of this draft with one of those 2 players. The question is just at which pick it happens. So here's how the final prediction shapes up. Dallas stays put at 12. The board falls in a direction where they end up with either Caleb Downs or Mossy Lane at that 12th selection, getting their cornerstone defensive back and solving a need they have been addressing all offseason. Then at 20, if Keldrick Falk is still there and the value is right, you take him and build your defensive line for the future. But the more likely scenario based on everything we have looked at is that Dallas takes one of those linebackers at 20, either Rodriguez or Allen, and walks out of round 1 with 2 starters who can contribute immediately. If Caleb Downs starts slipping on draft night and gets to 8 or 9, do not be shocked if Dallas tries to move up with the Saints or Chiefs to go get him. A 3rd-round pick is probably the price to move up 3 or 4 spots and land that guy. If they can do that and then get their linebacker at 20, that is arguably the ideal draft night outcome for this franchise. Now, real quick on Quinnen Williams because it needs to be said clearly without any drama attached to it. Dexter Lawrence got a 1-year extension worth $28 million. The Cowboys absolutely have the ability to get Quinnen done. He is going to land somewhere in the 26 to 28 million per year range. He is not yet 30 years old, and with Osa Odigizua already moved off the books, the money that was allocated there slides right over to Quinnen with a modest increase on top. You arguably have the best defensive tackle in the NFC right now, especially with Lawrence out of the conference. You pay that man, and you do not lose any sleep over it. This is an exciting time to be a Cowboys fan, even with all the uncertainty around the board. The pieces are in place for Dallas to have a genuinely great draft night and walk out of round one with two players who can start and contribute in year one. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel right now because we are going to be breaking down every single pick as it happens and coming back to do a full film deep dive with full analysis on every player Dallas selects. Hit that like button, share this video, leave a comment below with your own Cowboys draft prediction, and let us build this community together. See you on draft night.